think about how many announcements have come out just within the past couple of days. How many things have come to light? We're seeing Cosmic Rewind photos that we haven't seen before. We're seeing the announcement for the characters coming back. Right? We're seeing all this stuff, and it's like they are definitely trying to switch the narrative. They're trying to switch what people are actually talking about and conversating about online. And even Ken Potrock even talked about which I think we're going to go to. Yes. I think. Yeah.
Dre, you are the king of the segue, sir. You are the king of the segue.
I try. But maybe that has something to do with it.
That is absolutely our next topic. Okay, let's just dive into it. This was in the OC Register a couple days ago. This was actually in regards to Disneyland reopening, the phased reopening. Ken Potrock, there was a whole article about it. I'll link it down below. Basically, he's saying that they're only 50% halfway through the reopening for Disneyland Resort. But the very end of that article, they dropped this. And I made a quick little video about it yesterday, but we're going to deep dive into it today. So Ken Potrock, who is the president of the Disneyland Resort, okay, it says here, up next for Potrock, a State of the Disneyland Resort presentation in late April. It says, quote, we'll be able to announce a bunch of things that are continued improvements, opportunities, and experiences, Potrock said. Quote, we're going to talk about the impact that we're having on the community and how we're using our economic engine to rev up the economy here in Orange County and Anaheim in particular. Now, I made the case. Now, the first quote where he's talking about continued improvements and experiences and stuff like that, I kind of feel like that first quote is like basically this downtown Disney, we're going to give you more shops and more eateries, this, that, and the other, experiences opening back up like Fantasmic. I think that first line is kind of a throwaway thing, to be honest with you. It's that second quote where the verbiage is very much focused on the Anaheim economy, which, if we remember a year ago, the verbiage was very similar when Disney was trying to sell this whole notion of the rezoning for Disneyland Forward. They focused very much on the economic impact, the Anaheim local economy, and all this stuff. So I made the argument, hey, that last quote really does seem like they're focusing, like they're going to give us something in regards to Disneyland Forward. George, I'll start with you, sir. What do you feel about that? Do you agree with me, disagree with me? What's your kind of take on this quote from Mr. Potrock?
I do. The second I read it, it just screams to the notion of Disneyland Forward. It really does. It, as we had mentioned about coincidence, with someone like this, and you make a statement like this, there is no coincidence. There is no a blank canvas. There is a purpose why he has brought this up in this manner with the economic engine, for the economy in Orange County. Well, what is that proclaiming to? We're already talking about Disneyland Forward with the zoning and everything. There's not too much that it would proclaim to. So I really do feel that this is the first statement that is going to, and I mentioned this on Twitter, it's the pre-show to set the stage for the big grand finale. Now, I do have a little bit of a disclaimer, and I have to stick up for my brother OG 55 here, because we had a nice, long, lengthy Twitter conversation with a lot of Diz Twitter yesterday, and I have to say that what OG was mentioning was not the fact that Disney is going to mention tomorrow, oh, we're going to have Zootopia Land, we're going to have Tron, we're going to have Toy Story Land, God forbid, that that this is more so for the zoning for the Eastern Gateway that will potentially move for Disneyland to add projects to expand the parks, possibly a third gate, what have you.
Right. No, 100%, George. And I think people totally misinterpreted what I was saying. I was not trying to say that Ken Potrock is going to get on stage and give us half a dozen slides of the new third park and new land and all these concept art for everything that they plan for Disneyland Forward. That's not what I was trying to say in that at all. I was just saying that like the language in this quote about the economic engine, the local economy kind of points to Disneyland Forward. Look, I think if they do announce anything, at this event or whatever, late April, it'll be something to the effect of a non-announcement sort of thing like they've done before. Hey, look, you know what we mentioned to you a year ago, that we're working and we're talking with the city of Anaheim in regards to expanding the Disneyland Resort. We're here to tell you, we're happy to say we came to an agreement. Look for more details in the years to come. Something like that. That's all I'm saying we might get in late April. It's just an acknowledgement that this has gone through, and now look for stuff going forward.
And then that also sets the stage for the D23 Expo. Again, not that it's going to make huge announcements of saying, okay, here's our third park, here's the expansion for DCA. I do feel like it will in time, but I personally feel like we're going to hear more news of the Eastern Gateway project before anything else happens within the parks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Casual, what are your thoughts? I haven't heard your thoughts yet on this. I'm curious to hear what you think about this. Like, in terms of the language that Potrock, because I'm a believer, like these executives, nothing is an accident. This stuff is so carefully crafted. Maybe I'm cynical, but what do you think about the language in his quotes here? Do you think it kind of points to Disneyland Forward news? Do you not think that? Where are you kind of at with that?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's not going to be concept art for the, e-ticket attraction that's coming into the third park or anything like that. But, I don't know where they stand on the zoning and all of that. I don't know if this is going to be an announcement that kind of gives those general, wish list type of things, trying to generate public support. So when they are in talks with the city, that it's, hey, we've got a lot of people looking forward to these things. We've announced it and there was just tremendous support for it. Can we go ahead and move forward with it now? So I don't know where the talks are with the city and how that's going. So I don't know what kind of an announcement this could be, but I do agree that it is going to be something to put Disneyland Forward back into, the public mindset, and try to drum up support at the very least to get the surrounding areas to be open to what Disney is going to be proposing.
Yeah, because like if you look at like the history, like if you look at like even like recent history when it comes to Disneyland and when they announce things and the way they talk about things, like you don't ever hear this kind of language from things like the Toontown Reimagining. Like if you read the Toontown Reimagining press releases, it has nothing about the local Anaheim economy, the economic engine and all that stuff. It's not a big enough project for that kind of language. You just don't see that. Now, we did see that kind of language, though, with Galaxy's Edge. Well, that was a 15-acre expansion of the resort. So, of course, we saw that sort of like this is going to impact Anaheim in a real positive way sort of thing, more jobs. We saw that sort of language when it came to when they were proposing the fourth hotel and what have you. It's usually reserved for things that are kind of big, But Dre, what are your thoughts on the language? What are your thoughts on what Potrock is saying here? Where are you kind of at with this?
I think it's kind of a combination of the two. I think I think we have a mutual friend who was suggesting, well, maybe this is about downtown Disney. And the kind of stores and shops and so forth that'll be going in as part of that project, which would line up with some of the verbiage here. But my feeling is I mean, we're not necessarily on the eve of the vote, but the vote is going to be taking place later this year on whether or not Disneyland Forward actually does go forward, right? And what better wink and a nod to say, hey, you might want to approve this than to kind of display, hey, downtown Disney's getting this, downtown Disney's getting this proprietor, this proprietor, this proprietor. This is going to be an economic driver for the city of Anaheim. This is going to restore the kind of the glory, the sheen to Anaheim that was so unbelievably tarnished during the events of 2020 and beyond. Right? I think this presentation might be geared towards those talks of Disneyland Forward by not stating it directly, but just kind of saying, hey, you like this? There's more to come if you sign a dotted line, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And in a weird kind of way, like the drama, I think with Florida, it's like the stars are kind of aligning with Disneyland with this expansion because like the Pandy hit and Anaheim became real like, oh wow, we really do depend on this resort. We're going to do anything you say, right? After the Pandy, the relationship with Anaheim completely changed. But then even this Florida thing, yeah, I think that definitely does change the dynamic here in Anaheim too. I think that like Disney's going to be more receptive to this stuff here because they don't know the situation in Florida right now. They don't know what's going to. It could be change big time. So you know what? If Anaheim is much more friendly to them and much more willing to listen and be receptive, as that could be a benefit, to these talks. There's a lot of variables. I just think that with the verbiage here, so focused on the economy, I think it's pointing towards something big. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see,
And like we said, Disneyland Forward is really about the zoning, right? It's about the kind of how they can use the real estate that they have afforded to them. But imagine the possibilities, so to speak. If we get some of that language, this state of Disneyland thing is going to be kind of interesting to watch and kind of to see what comes out of it, because it might be just in fact geared towards the city. Hey, this is what we could do, so to speak, if we start this process here.
And that's the common misconception of Disneyland Forward. A lot of people, even like when they first announced it out the gate, they thought Disneyland Forward was proclaiming to more theme parks, more attractions, more expansions. In a way it does, but that's not what Disneyland Forward represents. It represents the zoning for Disneyland to take off of the city of Anaheim to be able to have full control of that so they can eventually move into bigger projects in the future.
Yeah, 100%. It's a seed planting thing. It's not like a one big project sort of thing where we're going to have this big grand concept art of a final product. It's much more of like a seed planting. Like, okay, so we have limited space here. Anaheim, can you free it up so we have 30 years of expansions kind of thing? It's going to be a multi-phased thing, well beyond Chapek, well beyond Ken Potrock's tenure.
So you're saying they want to establish the Greedy Creek Improvement District. Is that right? Is that where they go? I can't claim that. That's our buddy Showcase there.
hey, you know what? Shout out to Showcase. That was brilliant. Showcase showcases his brilliance regularly, by the way. I love that guy.
It's very funny. Very funny.